Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, watching the stars through the massive view screen. The ship moved quietly through space, its black hull almost invisible against the darkness. No one was supposed to know this ship existed. That was exactly how Jake liked it. The Defiance was not like other human ships. It was bigger, faster, and deadlier than anything humanity had ever built before. The ship stretched nearly 2 miles from front to back, with weapons that could crack planets and engines that bent space itself. Most importantly, it was completely illegal according to galactic law. Jake didn't care about galactic law, neither did the rest of his crew. "Captain, we're getting a message from Admiral Clark," said Kelly Davis from her communications station. She was young, maybe 25, with short brown hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "He says it's urgent. Put him through," Jake replied. He was 42 years old, with gray starting to show in his black hair. He'd been fighting aliens for 15 years, and every battle had taught him the same lesson. The galaxy didn't. Respect weakness. Admiral Ben Clark's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired, which meant bad news was coming. "Jake, we need to talk. How soon can you get to Titan Station?" 6 hours if we push the engines," Jake answered. "What's happening?" "The Zentari Empire is moving a fleet toward our space. Intelligence says they have over 300 ships. They think we're too weak to fight back." Clark paused. "It's time to show them how wrong they are." Jake felt his heart beat faster. They had been preparing for this moment for 3 years. "Understood, sir. We'll be ready." The transmission ended and Jake turned to his crew. They were all looking at him, waiting for orders. These people had volunteered to serve on a ship that officially didn't exist. They knew the risks. "What's our status?" asked the chief engineer. Lisa Park was 38 years old and had designed half the systems on the ship. She was brilliant, tough, and had never met a problem she couldn't solve. "All systems are perfect, Captain. Quantum fusion core is running at full power. We could fight the entire Zentari fleet right now if we had to."
"Good."
"Danny, how are our weapons?" Danny Cooper grinned. He was 30 years old and loved his job more than anything in the universe. "Every gun is loaded and ready, sir. The gravitational pulse cannons are charged. The plasma torpedoes are armed. If something needs to be destroyed, I can destroy it," Jake nodded. "Amy, set course for Titan Station. Best speed." Amy Stevens was the navigation officer. She was quiet, smart, and could fly the ship through an asteroid field blindfolded. "Course set, Captain. We'll be there in 5 hours and 40 minutes. Take us there." The ship jumped to hyperspace, and the stars became lines of light. Jake walked to his ready room, a small office behind the bridge. He needed to think. The USS Defiance had been built in secret at shipyards hidden throughout the solar system. The project had cost more money than most planets made in a year. The ship used technology that combined human engineering with alien science recovered from crashed ships and abandoned worlds. The Galactic Council had banned this kind of technology after the last big war. They said it was too dangerous, too powerful for any one species to control. They made rules that limited what weapons could be built and how strong ships could be. Humanity had never signed those agreements. Earth's government had looked at the rules and decided they were written by species who wanted to stay in power. Rules were designed to keep newer species weak, while the old empires stayed strong. So humans built the Defiance in secret. They built it with weapons that violated every treaty and engines that broke every law of physics the Council recognized. They built it because they knew that someday someone would come to destroy them. When that day came, humanity would be ready. Jake's door chimed, and Lisa Park entered. She carried a datapad and looked excited. "Captain, I wanted to show you something. Phoenix has been learning." Phoenix was the ship's artificial intelligence. It controlled most of the ship's systems and could think faster than any human. The Council had banned advanced AI systems too, calling them too dangerous. Humans had built Phoenix anyway. "Learning what?" Jake asked. "Combat tactics?" Phoenix has been studying every space battle in recorded history. It knows how every species fights, what their weaknesses are, and how to beat them. The AI has run 10,000 simulations of fighting the Zentari. We win every single time. Jake looked at the data. Phoenix had analyzed Zentari ship designs, weapon capabilities, and battle formations. The AI had found 17 different ways to destroy their entire fleet with minimal damage to the Defiance. How long would it take? Jake asked. Against 300 ships? Maybe 20 minutes. Phoenix thinks it could do it in 15 if we're aggressive. Jake smiled. The Zentari Empire had conquered 12 worlds in the past 10 years. They were proud, arrogant, and considered humans to be primitive barbarians who would surrender without a fight. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The ship dropped out of hyperspace near Titan Station. The massive space station orbited Saturn's largest moon, hidden from casual observation by sensor jammers and stealth fields. This was where humanity built its most secret weapons. As they approached the station, Jake saw other ships. Human ships that looked like the Defiance. He counted 5 of them. "Kelly, get me Admiral Clark," he ordered. Clark's face appeared on screen again. This time he was smiling. "Welcome to Project Prometheus, Captain. As you can see, the Defiance isn't alone anymore. We have 12 ships just like her, and they're all ready for war." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. 12 ships like the Defiance meant humanity had enough firepower to fight the entire galaxy. It meant the balance of power had just shifted completely. "What are your orders, sir?" Jake asked. "The Zentari fleet will be here in 72 hours. They're expecting to find helpless humans who will beg for mercy. Instead, they're going to find out why you should never underestimate the human race." Admiral Clark's expression grew serious. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when they threaten Earth. War Commander Dexfer stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Glory. Around him, 300 Zentari warships moved through space in perfect formation. Each ship was a mile long and armed with enough weapons to destroy a city. Together, they represented the might of an empire that had never lost a war. Dexfer was 8 feet tall, with gray skin and 4 arms. His people had been conquering worlds for 1,000 years. Humans were just the latest species to face Zentari justice. He expected them to surrender quickly, like all the others. "Commander, we are approaching human space," reported his second-in-command. "Our scouts report minimal defenses. Perhaps 50 ships guarding their outer colonies." Dexfer smiled, showing sharp teeth. 50 ships against 300. These humans are either very brave or very stupid. Send them our standard message. The communications officer activated the long-range transmitter. The message would reach every human ship, station, and colony in the system. It was simple and direct. "Humans of the Sol System, you are now subjects of the Zentari Empire. Surrender your ships and submit to our rule. You have 1 hour to comply. Resistance will result in the destruction of your worlds." Dexfer had sent this same message to dozens of species. Most surrendered immediately. Few tried to fight and were quickly destroyed. None had ever caused him any real trouble. The response came faster than expected. A single human voice, calm and steady. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Human Defense Fleet. We have received your message and considered your offer. Our response is simple. Come and take it." Dexfer blinked in surprise. In all his years of conquest, no species had ever responded with such defiance. He looked around his bridge at his officers. They seemed equally shocked. "Did they just refuse our surrender demand?" asked his tactical officer. "They did more than refuse," Dexfer replied slowly. "They challenged us." The war commander felt his anger rising. These primitive humans dared to mock the Zentari Empire. They would pay for their arrogance with their lives. "Move the fleet to attack formation. Prepare all weapons. We will show them what happens when you defy the Zentari." The massive fleet changed course toward the inner human system. Long-range sensors showed the human ships retreating toward their home planet. Dexfer nodded with satisfaction. Now they would see sense. But something was wrong. His sensor officer was staring at his screen with confusion. "Commander, I'm detecting unusual readings near the 3rd planet. There's something large there, but our sensors can't get a clear reading." "Explain," Dexfer ordered. "It's like something is bending space around itself. The readings don't make sense." According to our instruments, there's nothing there, but also something huge. Dexfer frowned. His ships had the best sensors in the galaxy. They could detect a coin floating in space from 1,000,000 miles away. What could hide from Zentari technology? All ships maintain formation, weapons ready. Whatever the humans are, hiding will destroy it. The fleet moved deeper into the human system. Earth grew larger on their screens, a blue and green world that would soon belong to the Zentari Empire. Dexfer was already planning how to divide up the planet among his officers. Then space twisted, and the USS Defiance appeared. The human ship materialized in the center of the Zentari formation. If it had been there all along. It was massive. Larger than the X-Verse flagship, with a hull that seemed to absorb light. Strange energy patterns danced across its surface. "Where did that come from?" shouted the sensor officer. Dexfer stared at the ship. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. He'd never seen anything like it. Vessel, fire, everything. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles shot toward the human ship. The weapons were powerful enough to crack a moon. They should have destroyed the Defiance instantly. Instead, they hit some kind of barrier around the ship and simply vanished. The human vessel sat motionless in space, completely undamaged. "Impossible," whispered Dexfer. A new voice came over the communications channel. It was the same human from before, Jake Morrison, or Commander Dexfer. "My name is Captain Jake. Morrison, you wanted to see human defenses. Let me show them to you." The USS Defiance began to move. It didn't accelerate like normal ships. Instead, it seemed to slide through space, ignoring physics. Weapons ports opened along its hull, revealing gun barrels that glowed with inner fire. "All ships scatter," Dexfer ordered. "Evasive maneuvers." It was too late. The Defiance opened fire. The weapons were unlike anything in Zentari experience. Instead of energy beams or missiles, the human ship fired something that twisted space itself. When the shots hit Zentari vessels, they didn't explode. They simply ceased to exist, leaving empty space where proud warships had been moments before. In 30 seconds, 50 Zentari ships were gone. Not destroyed, not damaged, gone, as if they had never existed at all. "What are those weapons?" screamed his tactical officer. Dexfer didn't answer. He couldn't answer. He was watching his mighty fleet die, and he didn't understand how. The human ship moved through his formation like a shark among fish. Every shot destroyed another Zentari vessel. The Empire's most advanced shields were useless. Their strongest armor meant nothing. Their fastest ships couldn't escape. "All remaining ships, retreat," Dexfer ordered. "Full speed. Get us out of here." But the USS Defiance wasn't finished. It accelerated past them, moving faster than should be possible. It positioned itself between the fleeing Zentari ships and the edge of the system, Captain. Morrison's voice came over the radio again. "War Commander, you came here to conquer us. Now you're running away. That doesn't seem very impressive for a mighty empire." 20 more Zentari ships died in explosions of twisted space. Dexfer watched his officers panic as systems failed. Throughout the fleet, the human weapon was doing something to their ships, making their own technology turn against them. "Please," Dexfer found himself saying, "we surrender. Stop this destruction." "I don't think so," Morrison replied. "You see, we humans have a saying. You started this fight, but we're going to finish it." USS Defiance fired again and again. Each shot erased another piece of Zentari pride. In 10 minutes, the mighty fleet that had conquered 12 worlds was reduced to 40 scattered ships, running for their lives. Finally, the human ship stopped firing. It hung in space, untouched and terrible. "War Commander," Morrison's voice was calm, almost friendly. "I'm going to let you live. I want you to go back to your empire and tell them what you saw here. Tell them that humans don't surrender. Tell them that if they want a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget." The surviving Zentari ships fled toward the edge of the system. Behind them, the USS Defiance watched silently. As they reached the jump point, Dexter turned to look back one last time. The human ship was gone, vanished as mysteriously as it had appeared. But Dexter knew it was still there, watching, waiting. He had come to conquer Earth. Instead, he had learned that there were some fights the Zentari Empire should never pick. Humans, it seemed, were one of them. The news of the defeat would spread across the galaxy within days. Every species would know that the mighty Zentari fleet had been destroyed by a single human ship. The balance of power in the galaxy had just changed forever. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so crowded. Representatives from over 400 species sat in their assigned seats, all watching the same recording. The battle footage from the Zentari fleet showed everything in perfect detail. The appearance of the human ship, the impossible weapons, the destruction of over 250 warships in less than 15 minutes. Counselor Alstaru of the Tellurian Republic stood at the speaking podium. She was tall and thin, with blue skin and silver eyes. Her people had helped write the galactic weapons treaties 50 years ago. Now she was watching those treaties being completely ignored. Fellow counselors, she began, her voice carrying across the silent hall. What we have witnessed is not just a battle. It is a violation of every law that keeps our galaxy civilized. This human weapon breaks every treaty, every agreement we have made to prevent another galactic war. The hall erupted in angry voices. Species that had been enemies for centuries agreed on one thing. The human ship was too dangerous to exist. The humans must be stopped, declared Counselor Zethmer of the hegemony. His people were warriors who respected strength, but even they were afraid of what they had seen. No single species should have such power. I agree, said Counselor. This is of the collective. This weapon threatens the stability of the entire galaxy. We must act immediately. But not everyone agreed. In the back of the hall, a small figure stood up. Ambassador Helen Wright was the human representative to the Galactic Council. She was 55 years old, with gray hair and sharp eyes. Had been a diplomat for 20 years and had never backed down from a fight. If I may speak, Helen said calmly. The hall fell silent. Every eye turned to look at the human. Some of the representatives had never seen a human before. They were surprised by how small and ordinary she looked. The chair recognizes the human representative, announced the council president. Helen walked to the speaking podium. She moved slowly, her footsteps echoing in the vast hall. When she reached the podium, she looked out at the hundreds of aliens staring at her. Counselors, I have listened to your concerns about our defensive capabilities. I understand your fear. But I must remind you of something very important. Humanity never signed your weapons treaties. Angry shouts filled the hall. Several representatives stood up, waving their arms and demanding order. That is irrelevant, shouted Counselor Vexhara. These weapons threaten every species in the galaxy. Helen smiled calmly. Today, the Zentari Empire sent 300 ships to destroy human worlds and enslave our people. We defended ourselves. How is that a threat? To anyone else? Because no species should have weapons that powerful, declared Counselor Zethmer. Your ship destroyed an entire fleet. Yes, it did, Helen agreed. And it will destroy any other fleet that tries to attack human space. That is what defensive weapons are for. The council president, an ancient being from the First Republic, raised his hand for silence. Ambassador Wright, the council demands that humanity surrender this weapon immediately. We also demand complete technical specifications and the location of your shipyards. Helen's smile never wavered. I'm afraid that's impossible, Counselor. You see, Earth government has reviewed your demands and decided to decline them. The hall exploded in chaos. Representatives shouted in dozens of languages. Some were demanding military action against humanity. Others were calling for economic sanctions. A few were quietly discussing how to get on humanity's good side. You refuse the will of the Galactic Council? Asked the president. We refuse the demands of species who want to keep us weak while they stay strong, Helen replied. Your treaties were written by old empires who wanted to prevent new species from challenging them. We won't be bound by agreements designed to keep us helpless. Then you leave us no choice, declared Counselor Vexhara. The Council will authorize military action to destroy this illegal weapon. Helen nodded as if she had expected this. You're right, Counselor, but I should warn you. The ship you saw in that recording was not our only defensive asset. We have been preparing for this moment for several years. The hall fell silent. Every representative was staring at the human ambassador, trying to understand what she had just said. How many ships? Asked the president quietly. Enough, Helen answered. We don't want to fight you. We want to be left alone to live in peace. But if you force us to defend ourselves, we will do so completely. She paused, looking around the hall at the hundreds of alien faces. Let me tell you a story about humans, counselors. A long time ago on our world, there was a small nation surrounded by great empires. Those empires thought the small nation was weak and could be easily conquered. They were wrong. The small nation didn't just defeat the empires, it destroyed them completely. We humans learned from our history. Helen turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and counselors, if you do decide to attack human space, remember what happened to the Zentari fleet? They thought they were strong too. She walked out of the hall, leaving behind 400 very nervous aliens. Meanwhile, in human space, Captain Jake Morrison was receiving new orders. The USS Defiance was docked at a hidden base called New Sparta, built inside a hollow asteroid. The base was huge. With shipyards that could build entire fleets in secret, Admiral Ben Clark met Jake in the base's command center. The room was filled with screens showing star charts and ship movements across the galaxy. Jake, the Council, has decided to move against us, Clark said. Intelligence reports show 3 separate fleets being assembled. The Tellurians are bringing 200 ships. The Hegemony is sending 300. Collective is mobilizing their entire battle fleet. Jake looked at the tactical displays. Over 1,000 enemy ships were moving toward human space. It was the largest military force assembled in 50 years. When do they arrive? Jake asked. 72 hours, Clark replied, but we're not going to wait for them. It's time to show the galaxy what Project Prometheus really is. Clark activated a holographic display. It showed the locations of 12 ships identical to the USS Defiance. Each one was hidden in a different system, waiting for orders. Jake, you're going to lead the first squadron, 5 ships, including the Defiance. Your mission is to intercept the Tellurian fleet before it reaches Earth. What about the other fleets? Jake asked. Captain Rodriguez will handle the Hegemony with 4 ships. Captain Chen will deal with the Collective using 3 ships. We're keeping the Titan and the Olympus in reserve. Jake studied the battle plans. 12 human ships against over 1,000 alien vessels. On paper, it looked impossible. But Jake had seen what the Defiance could do. He had seen alien ships simply disappear when hit by human weapons. Admiral, what if this escalates? What if the entire galaxy decides to unite against us? Clark smiled grimly. Then we'll show them why that would be a very bad idea. Jake, humanity has been preparing for this moment since we first looked up at the stars. We're not going to be conquered by anyone. Jake saluted and headed back to his ship. In 6 hours, the USS Defiance and 4 sister ships would jump to hyperspace. They would meet the Tellurian fleet in deep space, far from any inhabited worlds. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't just build one impossible warship. They had built 12 of them, and they were all ready for war. The age of human weakness was over. The age of human strength was about to begin. The Vega system was empty except for rocks and ice. No planets, no colonies, no reason for anyone to be there. It was the perfect place for a battle that would change the galaxy forever. Captain, Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, watching 5 human ships move into formation. Each ship was identical to his own, armed with weapons that violated every law of civilized warfare. Together, they represented more firepower than most empires possessed. Captain, long-range sensors are detecting the enemy fleet, reported Amy Stevens from her navigation station. The Tellurians are coming in fast. 200 ships in standard attack formation. Jake nodded. What? The Tellurian Republic was one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. Their ships were beautiful, elegant, and deadly. They had never lost a major space battle in 300 years. Today would be different. All ships, this is Morrison. Jake spoke into his communicator. "Remember? We're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting to show the galaxy that humans will not be pushed around. Make every shot count." For voices answered him, the captains of the other human ships. They were all veterans, handpicked for this mission. Each one commanded a vessel that could destroy entire fleets. "Enemy fleet dropping out of hyperspace," announced Danny Cooper from the weapons station. "They're forming up for attack. Looks like they plan to hit us with everything at once." Through the view screen, Jake could see the Tellurian fleet appearing. Their ships were silver and blue, gleaming in the light of distant stars. They moved with precision, each vessel knowing exactly where it belonged. Admiral Kesvara commanded the Tellurian fleet from her flagship, the Star of Justice. She was a brilliant tactician who had studied human military history. She knew humans were dangerous when cornered, but she had 200 ships against 5. The numbers were on her side. "All vessels target the lead human ship," she ordered. "Concentrate fire and destroy it quickly. Once their flagship is gone, the others will surrender." The Tellurian fleet opened fire. Hundreds of energy beams and plasma missiles streaked through space toward the USS Defiance. It was enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The weapons hit the ship's shields and simply vanished. The Defiance sat motionless in space, completely undamaged. "Impossible," whispered Admiral Kesvara. "Ow!" "Our sensors show direct hits. How are they still intact?" Her tactical officer was staring at his instruments in confusion. "Admiral, their shields are reading power levels that shouldn't exist. According to our sensors, that ship is generating more energy than our entire fleet." On the bridge of the Defiance, Jake smiled grimly. "Their turn is over. Now it's ours. All ships, engage targets at will." The 5 human ships spread out and began to move. They didn't fly like normal vessels. Instead, they seemed to dance through space, their exotic engines allowing impossible maneuvers. They twisted and turned, avoiding enemy fire while closing the distance. Ryan Bell, the chief science officer, coordinated targeting data between all 5 ships. His computers tracked every enemy vessel, calculated their movements, and shared the information instantly. "Target priorities established," Ryan announced. "Focusing on command ships first, then heavy cruisers, then escorts." The USS Defiance opened fire. Its gravitational pulse cannons twisted space itself, creating invisible beams that erased everything they touched. The first shot hit a Tellurian cruiser. The ship didn't explode, simply ceased to exist, leaving empty space where it had been. Moments before? "What kind of weapon is that?" screamed Admiral Kesvara. "How can they make our ships disappear?" Her question was answered by more human fire. The other 4 ships had joined the battle, their weapons creating patterns of destruction through the Tellurian formation. Every shot removed another enemy vessel from existence. The Tellurians tried to adapt. They scattered their formation, hoping to make targeting more difficult. They launched fighters and bombers, trying to overwhelm human defenses. They fired everything they had, desperate to damage the impossible human ships. Nothing worked. The human vessels moved through the battle. Like sharks among fish, their shields absorbed every attack while their weapons carved through enemy formations. In 10 minutes, half the Tellurian fleet was gone. "All remaining ships retreat," ordered Admiral Kesvara. "Emergency jump to hyperspace." But the human ships had anticipated this. They moved to block the escape routes, positioning themselves between the Tellurians and the edge of the system. Any ship that tried to run was destroyed before it could jump away. Admiral called Jake Morrison over the radio. "This is Captain Morrison of the Human Defense Fleet. Your ships are surrounded and outgunned. I'm offering you one chance to surrender." "Admiral?" Kesvara looked around her bridge. Half her crew was dead or wounded. Her beautiful fleet was being systematically destroyed by weapons she didn't understand. Her pride wanted her to keep fighting, but her duty was to her people. "We surrender," she said quietly. The human ships stopped firing. In the sudden silence of space, the survivors of the Tellurian fleet waited to learn their fate. "Admiral, gather your remaining ships," Jake ordered. "You're going home with a message. Tell the Galactic Council that this is what happens when they threaten human space. Tell them we have 11 more ships just like these ones. It's the broken Tellurian fleet. limped away. Similar battles were happening in other parts of the galaxy. Captain Rodriguez was destroying the hegemony fleet with 4 human ships. Captain Chen was dismantling the collective armada with 3 vessels. In 12 hours, 3 of the galaxy's most powerful military forces had been completely defeated by human ships that weren't supposed to exist. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light. Every species with faster-than-light communication received the same message. The humans had not just won. They had demonstrated that they could destroy any fleet sent against them. War Commander Vexver, still recovering from his own defeat, watched the battle recordings with growing horror. The human ships had gotten stronger, more coordinated. Their weapons were more precise, their tactics more refined. They're not just defending themselves, he told his aide. They're sending a message to the entire galaxy. They're saying that anyone who threatens humanity will be destroyed. On Earth, Admiral Clark watched the tactical displays showing the locations of all 12 human ships. Each vessel was now positioned at a key location around human space, creating an invisible barrier that no enemy could cross. Phase 1 is complete, he announced to his staff. The galaxy now knows we can defend ourselves. Phase 2 begins immediately. What's Phase 2, sir? Asked his aide. Clark smiled. We start making friends. It's amazing how friendly people become when they realize you're too dangerous to fight. The age of human isolation was ending. The age of human influence had begun. In the space of a single day, humanity had gone from being considered primitive newcomers to being the most feared military power in the galaxy. And they had done it all with just 5 ships, keeping 7 in reserve. The galaxy was about to learn that humans always planned ahead, and they never showed their full strength until they absolutely had to. The demonstration was over. Now came the real test of humanity's place among the stars. 6 months had passed since the great battles that changed everything. The galaxy was a very different place now. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the USS Defiance, looking out at a sight that would have been impossible. Before the war, a Zentari transport ship was docking with the human space station. Below it, 3 Tellurian vessels waited their turn. In the distance, ships from a dozen other species formed an orderly line. They were all here for the same reason. They wanted to talk to humans. Captain, we have another request for a meeting, said Kelly Davis, walking up behind him with a datapad. The hegemony wants to discuss a defensive alliance. It makes 15 requests this week. Jake smiled. Go. The same species that had tried to destroy humanity 6 months ago were now begging to become their allies. Gare, it seemed, was an excellent foundation for diplomacy. Schedule them for next Tuesday, Jake replied, right after the collective delegation. The transformation had been remarkable. Within days of the battles, ships had started arriving at the edge of human space. Not warships this time, but diplomatic vessels, carrying ambassadors and trade representatives. Everyone wanted to be friends with the species that could make entire fleets disappear. The first to arrive had been the Zentari. War Commander Vexver himself had come aboard the Defiance, no longer as an enemy, but as a representative of his empire. Jake remembered that meeting clearly. Captain Morrison Nexver had said, his forearms spread in a gesture of respect. My empire wishes to apologize for our previous actions. We did not understand the true nature of human strength. And now you do? Jake had asked. Now we understand that humans are not to be conquered. They are to be respected, my emperor offers. A treaty of friendship and mutual defense, which that treaty had been the first of many. Within a month, humanity had defensive pacts with 20 different species. Former enemies were competing to offer the best trade deals, the most valuable technology, the richest planets for human colonization. The door chimed, and Lisa Park entered the observation deck. She looked tired but happy. As the new head of human weapons development, she had been busier than ever. Jake, I wanted to update you on the new projects. We finished construction on the USS Titan and the USS Olympus. That brings our fleet up to 14 ships. Any problems with the new designs? Jake asked. The opposite, Lisa replied with a grin.
Ow.
The new ships are 30% more powerful than the Defiance. Phoenix has been sharing combat data with their AI systems. Each ship learns from every battle fought by every other ship. Jake nodded. The human fleet was not just growing larger, it was getting smarter. Every engagement taught the AI systems new tactics, new ways to use their impossible weapons. The gap between human and alien technology was getting wider every day. What about the alien technology exchanges? Jake asked. It's fascinating stuff, Lisa answered. The Tellurians gave us their shield harmonics research. The Zentari shared their faster-than-light communication technology. The collective handed over their entire database of galactic star charts. Everyone wants to stay on our good side. Soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. Kelly activated the communication system from her station on the bridge. USS Defiance. This is Captain Rodriguez aboard the USS Conquistador. We have a situation developing in the Rigel system. Local pirates are attacking shipping lanes. Planetary government has requested human assistance. Jake walked to the bridge and took his command chair. How many pirate ships, Captain? About 40 vessels. Nothing too serious. But the locals are scared. They offered to pay us in rare metals if we help them. Set course for Rigel, Jake ordered. Amy, best speed. The USS Defiance jumped to hyperspace. Jake had learned that these pirate suppression missions were about more than helping people. Every time humans defeated criminals or protected innocent worlds, their reputation grew stronger. The galaxy was learning that humans were not just powerful, but also honorable. The battle in the Rigel system lasted exactly 7 minutes. The pirates took one look at the approaching human ship and tried to run. Most of them didn't make it. The USS Defiance's weapons turned their stolen vessels into space dust while their targeting computers tracked every escape pod. This is Captain Morrison to all pirate vessels, Jake broadcast. You have attacked ships under human protection. That was a mistake. Those of you who survive will spread the word. Human space and human allies are off limits. The grateful Rigel government offered the humans 3 uninhabited planets as payment. Jake accepted on behalf of Earth. New human colonies were being established every month now, often on worlds given freely by alien governments seeking human favor. As the Defiance returned to human space, Jake received a priority message from Admiral Clark on Earth. Jake, we need to talk. Report to Earth immediately. 2 days later, Jake sat in Clark's office, overlooking the skyline of New Geneva. The city had grown dramatically as alien embassies and trade missions set up permanent offices. Earth was becoming the unofficial capital of the galaxy.
Jake,
I'm promoting you, Clark announced. You're now Admiral Morrison, commander of the Human Defense Fleet. All 14 ships will be under your command. Jake was surprised. Sir, what about you? Clark smiled, being transferred to a new position. Humanity's building something bigger than just warships. We're creating a new kind of civilization. One where strength protects the weak instead of destroying them. Through the office window, Jake could see construction ships building massive space stations. Human technology was being shared with allied species, but always under human supervision. The galaxy was learning that humans were generous friends, but terrible enemies. What are the new orders? Jake asked. Expand the protection zone, Clark replied. Any species that asks for human protection gets it. Any criminal or pirate that threatens innocent people gets destroyed. We're not conquering the galaxy, Jake. We're civilizing it. Jake understood. Humanity had achieved something unique in galactic history. They had become powerful enough to rule everyone, but wise enough to protect everyone instead. Fear had brought the aliens to them, but fairness was making them stay. That evening, Jake stood once again on the observation deck of the USS Defiance. The ship was approaching the newest human colony, a world called New Hope. Below, he could see human settlements alongside alien cities. Former enemies now lived and worked together under human protection. Kelly approached with another datapad. Admiral, we have 17 new requests for human protection. 3 different species want to join our alliance. And the Galactic Council has officially recognized humanity as a major galactic power. Jake smiled. Schedule the meetings, accept the applications, and send a message to the Council. Tell them we appreciate the recognition, but we already knew what we were. The USS Defiance moved through space, its impossible engines bending reality around it. In the void, nothing challenged its passage. Nothing dared. The galaxy had learned many lessons in the past 6 months. Don't threaten humans. Don't attack human allies. Don't underestimate human technology. And most importantly, don't assume that just because humans are peaceful, they are weak. The ultimate human warship had become a symbol of a new age. An age where might protected right, where strength served justice, and where the galaxy's most powerful species chose to be its greatest protectors. The age of human dominance had begun not with conquest, but with the simple promise that evil would always meet overwhelming force, while good would always find a powerful friend. The stars themselves seemed to approve.